Now, one of the first things that you will see in your text, and you all should have a manual, it's a requirement of the program that you have the nurse's aid manual, which you can get from the association. Manhall, when you signed on, you should have been able to have gotten that copy. That manual's last update was 2001. So there's going to be an awful lot of add-ons here. Medicine changes quickly and it changes every day. And so there are equipment things that are changed. For instance, we rarely use glass thermometers anymore. Even though they're in your manual that you have to learn how to use them, you will probably more likely be using tympanic, where they use the ear, or a probe with an electronic thermometer, and we will learn how to do those things even though they're not in this manual, which makes our program very unique, and I'm very proud of that. At the first part of your manual is a glossary. It's on page, Roman numeral 13. You can look at that, but I can tell you that in every lesson plan, I have tried to reintroduce you to the terms that you will need to know or may hear when these kinds of things are being discussed. So having said that, I want to start off with just a short introduction, and then you will work through the program on lesson plan 1-1. The lesson plans the book is divided up into units, and then under the units there are certain chapters or lesson plans. This is the first unit, and it is the nurse assistant in long-term care, and becoming a nurse assistant is the first lesson plan. What kinds of things you'll hear are the types of facilities that are out there. You'll hear skilled facility, you'll hear assisted living facility, you'll begin to hear abbreviations. Those things you'll be able to find on the computer in the terminology. But what I want you to get from this segment of my video here is the importance of who you are and what you do as a nurse assistant. You are the resident's voice. You are the charge nurse's eyes, ears, touch. You're watching things that she or he cannot possibly see in a day's time. You are also a strong advocate for that resident when their needs are not being met. You see something that's not right. You see a resident who's not feeling well. Getting to the charge nurse, reporting that, and advocating for them. Long-term care has changed so much, and we still have a major growing period to go through in regards to person-centered care. Right now, person-centered care is all the talk around culture change. And all that really means is that instead of the staff deciding when you will get up, when you will go to bed, what you'll wear, how you'll wear your hair, when you'll take your bath, that the resident is put back in charge of those kinds of decisions. A good CNA is respectful of that. A great CNA takes the few minutes to sit down with a resident and say, how did you take your bath at home? Did you use any special products? Is there anything that I need to know? Before you ever start the process. And that few minutes can make your relationship with that resident priceless in the resident's eyes. And it'll make you feel better when you go home at the end of the day, too. So, becoming a nurse assistant, in my opinion, you are one of the most important people in the facility behind the resident only. Even more so, and it's more important than the administrator, because you're the one that spends all of the time with the resident. You're the one that does what is necessary to meet that resident's needs. So, we're going to talk about becoming a nurse assistant, some of the terms and the definitions, and then one other thing I want to talk about, because I've had such an issue with this in trainings, is how to be assertive. And so this lesson plan will help you learn the difference between being aggressive and being assertive. Sometimes you have to be assertive to get the charge nurse's attention for a resident, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. The other things that we'll talk about in this lesson plan are your character education and the traits that it takes to be good at your job. So, having said that, we'll go ahead and we will get started. Having said that, we'll go ahead and we'll get started by you clicking on to the program and starting this first chapter.